we've got our strands of DNA that are active. And then we have all of those other strands of DNA that are not active. They're to be activated. And part of that was apparently, I'm going to say apparently, configured to keep us under control so that this grand human experience would evolve, but not too much. And inherent in the light work that we're doing, when we're talking about you release something for transformation into illumination, and we've talked about how it's important to let all of your different bodies calibrate, especially the physical, which is the last one to come into the fold. So when you look at the actual blueprint of you as a divine soul having a human experience, you also have the blueprint of the sum total of all of your divine soul's awarenesses and experiences. And the experiences are all a trial and error. They're all a co-creation, but they're all an experiment because you don't know for sure what's going to happen until you actually do it. You can make predictions based upon what you know, but it's not a given. And we understand that in our human experience, correct? Okay, so it's important to recognize that your whole life and this whole thing is one big, huge experiment. Now, we're going to bring this back down to the DNA. Every time you release something for transformation into illumination, every time we are sending light through our mental body and we're allowing the brain synapses to disconnect and reconnect, you are evolving that whole biological structure. And inherent in that, you're also evolving your DNA structure. So you're building up slowly, bit by bit, the parts that aren't activated until they become activated. And that's very similar to like the discussion on the pineal gland and activating that, or activating your third eye, or activating your intuitive voice. All of these elements are there, ready to be worked with. It's just that they need to be developed. It doesn't happen in the beat of an eye. But if you look at the overall arc of the eons of time, it does happen in the bat of an eye. It's just that when you're living inside of it, it's evolutionary, not revolutionary. Okay? So this is where the curiosity comes into play that we've talked about. And it's also where patience comes into play. So if you're curious to see how your experiment is unfolding, you're curious to see how relationships can evolve, you're curious about that whole evolutionary experiment that you're involved in, then it becomes easier to step outside of that paradigm of thinking you have to control everything. And it becomes more that Tai Chi movement of energy. When you're releasing something for transformation into illumination, if you take that fourth step of the basic activation where divine light is flowing from infinity within, through your divine soul knowing, up through your divine heart and your human heart, and then spill out, that's the first step. But as you release, if you do the fourth step and know that light is flowing through that, so you're releasing any one particular part of your paradigm or any belief system or any fear, or any one aspect that you no longer want to live within that limitation because your experiment is finished, then breathe it to the far reaches of that and beyond. And then let love come in from the other side, because remember, divine light is equally everywhere present. And I think you'll find the transformations will go a little bit faster. Absolutely. Every person that we dance with, but especially if it's in an intimate thing, then when we raise our own vibration, when we raise our own selves up, then we do absolutely raise everything else. The first important part of your divine soul purpose and mission is to live a good life. Because in living a good life, you automatically have to take a look at, where am I holding myself back? Where am I not living a good life? Where do I want to live? And so that'll tell you where you want to direct your attention. And remember, divine light will manifest where you're in, it flows where your intention goes, and it manifests where your intention stays focused. And it's the emotions that give you the fuel to put new action, but it's also your emotions that will bring you deeper into your spiritual knowledge of yourself. If you have all of these different emotions that come up, they're not to be managed. You rest in them, you relax into them, and you be curious about them, because they're going to teach you something. And it'll either be where you're holding yourself back, or maybe you're going into a knee-jerk reaction based on past conditioning, or maybe it'll just tell you what somebody else is feeling. You don't know. Each time it's going to be a little bit different. Think about what you would like to rewrite in your blueprint. And then think about what you would like to experiment with co-creating in its place. So think about which way you want to swim, or which way you want to direct your light. And just take a moment to feel in that and see what you get.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being interested in learning on how to live your light more fully and freely, with emotional freedoms that you haven't even yet begun to dream of. And that gives you the courage and clarity to live your divine soul purpose. Now, just so that I play well with the algorithms here on YouTube, be sure to like the video. Please leave me a comment, because I do love more two-way conversations. And subscribe if you want to stay in touch with any of the new material that I'm putting out there.